Man, I love that music. This is Larry Little.
And I'm Melissa Jackson.
And you're listening to RelationShifts, little shifts that make a difference.
Yes, those little shifts go such a long way. And we've got that opportunity to be aware and make those shifts. And we're going to talk about that today.
Oh, man. Listen, here we are, Melissa. We are looking fall like right in the face. Here we are in it, really. And, we got some things to talk about today that I think it's really going to be cool because we both have to deal with these issues that we're going to talk about today, right?
We do. But let's hang out for just a second.
Okay.
Fall is in the air and it is so nice. And I'm just enjoying my pumpkin latte here. It's so good.
And for those of you that can't see, she's got a beautiful fall decorated cup with this thing, what is that, a warmer on it that's fall. And it looks like fall. Meanwhile, I've got my just normal standard cup.
You do. Yeah. I'm disappointed, Larry. You need some, decor in your life. And I love that our team puts this together and they just make a cup of coffee beautiful. It's a beautiful cup of coffee.
Well, and see, beautiful means different things to different people, right?
Yes,
so
it does.
Your beautiful is that cup, and it's nice. My beautiful is the taste. Oh, it's so good. This coffee. We have this little thing, guys. If you're listening, they are celebrating here. They just do some cool things here at Eagle, and they've decorated the employee kind of kitchen area like the Gilmore Girls.
Yes,
which is interesting, huh?
All the details. It's fabulous. You would just need to see it.
Shout out to Dee Dee, right?
Oh, Dee Dee, you're fantastic, and a great cup of coffee.
The coffee, the taste is it's so smooth and beautiful. I could go on. I'm a coffee, freak. I love coffee. I love good coffee.
You are wanting a cup of coffee. The participant. I think you're just creating that, and they're going to want a cup of coffee. So grab you a cup of coffee and listen to this today. So we have a question to start off today. We have enjoyed these questions and appreciate your thoughtfulness behind it. And here is one to start us off. I have a coworker who is always interrupting, and I can never get my point across. I may not ever have their understanding, but is there hope for me to at least be heard?
So I think that's an awesome question. And here's what I think. If you're going to have a conversation with someone that doesn't listen, first of all, I feel your pain. It's highly annoying, right? But I think if we could learn to frame the conversation so it goes like this. I need to talk to you and I need for you to hear me. Frame it. And what I would like to have happen during this conversation is for you to listen, and the outcome would be that we could hear each other. So I'm addressing it on the front end. I'm framing what I want to happen, what I want to see the outcome to be, and then I enter into the conversation.
That's good.
But the third thing is, can you do that? That's critical, because it's like, so you go, I want to talk to you, but I really need you to hear me. Can you listen and let me talk so you can hear my side? Do you think you can do that? Would that be something we could, and get that commitment?
So we're going to practice this. I need to have a conversation. I'm just kidding. That is great. I love the perspective that at least you're talking about set it up so that the person that's asking this question and those that we can identify with this is, kind of set it up from the beginning so you can go into it with clarity with the other person. You're communicating. You're being assertive. Right. You're communicating how you would like it to take place, and that's a unique opportunity to be able to set it up that way.
Well, I think if you set it up on the front end, and I'll call it being assertive. It doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but if you're not successful by framing it, then the truth is you're probably not going to be successful in being heard by that person. So I think you try this, and I think it might help.
This leads us into our conversation for today. And our conversation has to do with, how we interact with each other, how we engage in our relationship. Let's give a couple of stats as we get into that. And you have one that you want us to really look at from a work perspective.
Yeah, dude. What we're talking about here is EQ. Now, that's emotional quotient, but we call it emotional intelligence. So EQ is the terminology we'll be using for those of you, if that's a new term for you. we're going to explain that. We're going to talk, what do you mean when you say EQ? But here's why it's important. 90% of the top performers in leadership and business have high EQ, have high emotional intelligence. That's an amazing stat. Let me say that 90% of the top. So if you're going to be successful in leadership, in business, it's that you have to understand this EQ, but it doesn't stop there, right?
Yeah. I think that has to do with how you function at home or in your relationships, your friendships, your family relationships. If you have the capability to use emotional intelligence, then your relationships are they're gonna flow better. They're gonna be probably healthier. You're gonna engage in a different way. And this is a stat that we have from applied psychology that actually says for couples with higher emotional intelligence, they report greater satisfaction, less conflict, and more resilience. I wonder about this less conflict. I wonder if they actually have conflict, but they manage it better.
I was going to say.
They're able to reconcile. They're able to use something that happened in that conflict to grow the relationship. But they have better relationships, greater satisfaction.
I love that. And I think that conflict, you're brilliant when you said that. I think it's probably less unhealthy conflict, right? Mm-hmm. But that is an amazing stat. So professionally, it helps us. Personally, it helps us. But is there real science behind it? And the answer is, that's human science, which is real. But is there like neurological science? And the answer is absolutely. Neuroscience research tells us that if you are able to be aware, know what's going on in your brain, that really helps your brain to decrease the amount of stress that you're feeling. So your brain actually responds by learning to regulate yourself and be aware of what's going on around you. You can actually reduce the stress in your life.
Yeah,
and
that's that regulation between your logic and your emotion.
Yeah.
Being able to understand what you're thinking, being able to understand what emotion is being produced by it, so then you can figure out how to regulate that and what you want it to
just
look like.
Amazing to me. It's just amazing to think about that.
It's very difficult.
True.
But it can happen.
And
it's important.
It's a process.
In our relationships, yes.
Yeah.
It sure is.
So I think we're all working on it. Nobody has it all together. But boy, it can make a big difference if we can just put some handlebars, if we can get these handlebars in our life, in our relationships. So let's talk about what that means.
Yeah. And in light of that, the holidays are right upon us, and that brings family gatherings, great opportunity to be together, to be involved with each other for probably multiple encounters, multiple times together. And so in light of that, we really want to look at these skills, these characteristics, these things that we can work on, these little shifts that we can make to help us as we approach Thanksgiving and as we approach Christmas.
Melissa, I'm just sitting there thinking and going all the way back to that question. Wouldn't it be, it's just so uncomfortable and miserable to go to a family gathering, right? And there's Uncle Joe who talks, all the time, incessantly, just talks. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be so cool to be able to have some EQ going into this that would help us, that would help us to have a better experience over the holidays, or to have a better experience professionally. I just think it's really important. And unfortunately or unfortunately, or however you want to look at it, the holiday season and the fall season and the winter and the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, we're around our families more. We kind of have these relationships that are surrounding us. And I am excited that we can offer some real tools for moving into this season.
So no matter what your relationships are like, let's say if it's on a continuum, and let's say, you have good, solid relationships all the way to you have disconnected relationships, wherever you fall in each one of those relationships, you can use these tools. You can make this shift because you can make, a good relationship better, and you can use your skills if there is a very conflictual relationship to lead lead the way, to choose how you want to respond. So we think these tools are universal, and we want to challenge our team, challenge those that are listening to use some of these skills. So let's get started. The 4 pieces of EQ, there are 4 pieces.
We need to start there, right?
Let's start with that base knowledge. Is self-awareness, being aware of how you feel. The next is self-management. It's being able to manage your behavior, your reaction, your emotion of how you're feeling. Then social awareness. So that's where we flip the script. That's where I'm aware of how you're responding. I'm aware of what's, what might be going on with you. Then relationship management is what we're doing, pinging and ponging. Am I able to manage what's going on with you and what's going on with me in an interaction and an engagement?
One caveat here, as we think about EQ, that gets confused sometimes, is we can be self-aware and we can manage our behavior. Those are 2 things: self-aware, self-management. We can recognize social awareness, so I know what's going on. Relationship management is where we get hung. This is not to say that I'm responsible for your behavior. That's not what we mean when we say relationship management. What that means is understanding where you are, being aware of that, and then managing myself to set those appropriate boundaries, the framing, those kind of things. So want us to be sure we're not advocating for you to go try to control someone else's behavior.
Right.
Because you can't do that.
That's right. And you can be in various places with these 4 different distinct areas. You can not be aware of yourself, and you could be aware of somebody else's behavior. You could, be trying to manage the relationship at times without necessarily being truly aware of how you feel in the relationship or what you feel. So these are places and key areas for you to be mindful of, so that you can make some shifts, that you can choose to do that. So you're going to be around your family, you're going to be around friends, you're going to be around maybe in-laws, maybe aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, close friends that maybe you don't get along with as well. The gamut.
In-laws, outlaws, whoever.
All of the above. So let's talk about that. So we're going to start back with that self-awareness and look at, how we can make some shifts in that area. What do we do so that we can become more self-aware? How do we dial in? How do we tune in? A couple of things here, which I think is so spot on. This is where we're talking about shift from autopilot. Do you ever go into autopilot when you're in a situation that is, it's exhausting maybe? Maybe it takes a little more energy from you in the relationship, the environment. Do you ever shift to autopilot? If so, you may not be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, I like to think of that in terms of shift from reacting to being able to push that pause button and be aware, reflect, if you will, to what am I feeling? So instead of reacting in the moment, take that step back and go, what am I really feeling here? So am I feeling anger? That's what I'm downloading. Is that what I'm feeling really, or am I feeling hurt?
Or am I feeling nothing at all?
Am I feeling nothing at all?
I've kind of shifted into autopilot and I'm just kind of...
Maybe I'm just... hanging out. There's no feeling at all. Maybe I'm denial. Maybe it's that I just don't want to deal with it, so I just shut down. Maybe I'm shutting down. Am I shutting down? Am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? Some people's autopilot is to do that fight mode. Some people's autopilot is to do the flight mode.
That's a really good point.
So kind of figure out what is your default mechanism, right, to go into. Be aware of that so that we can get to that next step. So the first step is, how am I reacting to this situation? What's going on with me? And shift from that to reflection, which is just be aware of what's going on inside. And we cannot be aware, by the way, if we're in action mode. Either pulling back or leaning. We have to take a step and reflect for a minute. Be aware. Just push that pause button to go and be honest with yourself. What am I really feeling here in this moment?
So we can we can press pause. We can hit the pause button and be able to just kind of ponder, be able to think about it a little bit, be able to figure out what do we want to do in this situation.
You know, my ears are turning red. My cheeks are turning red. What am I feeling? I'm disassociating. I'm pulling back. I find myself withdrawn. What's causing that? What am I really feeling? Why am I doing it?
Mm-hmm. And maybe on the positive end of things, maybe, my relationships are good, but I'm just tired coming into the holidays. Maybe I'm just exhausted and, I just don't have the energy to give. I'm tired. And so I go into autopilot because I just don't have the energy.
Yeah.
It just varies,
it
right?
Sure does.
But just that
awareness
word. So I can reflect and I can make some choices around that. Self-management. So in self-management, are we avoiding something? Are we reacting to something? Are we trying hard to avoid? Sometimes we need to avoid. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing to avoid some situations because I'm choosing to, because I need to. But we're talking about how can we self-manage? So we've gone from being aware to what do I do with that? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the word that comes to my mind is being intentional around this. And once I'm aware, be intentional. But we talked about reacting earlier, but be intentional to regulate my emotion. Now that I know what's going on, it is appropriate to avoid in certain circumstances, but just make sure I'm not, defaulting into that, suppressing my emotions No, I'm intentionally pulling back because I want to kind of regroup, or I intentionally want to constructively lean into this conversation with you, Melissa, because it's important. It's uncomfortable for me, but I want to lean into that. So now in my head, this self-management is all about choosing to be intentional with how I respond. Choosing to be intentional with how I respond. That gives control to me.
Yeah. So for the holidays, it may be that I need to hit pause and I need to step out of the environment for just a little while. I may need to, go check on something or go for a quick walk or go pick up something from the grocery store. I need to press pause so that I can kind of regroup and I can manage myself a little better.
Absolutely. I need to step out of the room. I feel like the temperature's right. Or it could be I find myself isolating and I need to choose to engage. I need to choose to be more in the moment or more engaged in the relationships around me. It can go either way, but the whole key thing is once you're aware, be intentional about what you do.
So self-aware, self-management, social awareness is next. So how do I become more aware of what's going on with the other person? How do I, tune in a little bit? How do I allow my ears to kind of hear what's going on with that other person, that I become aware of what they might be going through or what they bring to the table?
Yeah, this one comes with a danger zone. This one comes with a big red flag. And the big red flag is in this social awareness, if I'm not careful, I will assume without getting good data. And what I mean by that is if I assume that this is going on and I really don't have anything other than my own emotions to back that up, I'm going to be wrong most of the time. And I'm going to turn that assumption into a behavior that is destructive. So collect some data. What's going on in the room? Think about body language. Think about tone. Think about unspoken emotions that I'm picking up on. I want to be savvy enough to know what's going on around me and to make the right call about being socially aware, not to be socially assuming. Assuming is kind of the lazy way out. It's that, I'm going to assume this because it's the storyline that best fits what I want to believe, instead of seeking to really truly understand in the moment what is truly happening here.
Pressing pause again, if we're using that concept, is, I'm going to press pause from assuming, and I may need to ask, do you need some help? What can I do to help you? Can I do the dishes? Can I take care of this? Or what's going on? Being able to press pause, come out of making assumptions and move into, let me get some clarity.
I think so. And I think also a really good tool here is press pause and then come back with a question. Help me to understand what you're thinking. Help me to understand what you're feeling. Could you clarify that for me? That clarifying question goes a long way to helping us to understand what's going on, what people are feeling around us. That's social awareness. Sometimes we need to ask, help me, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Really, really good. So then the last piece is relationship management. So this is being able to interact together, being able, what I call ping and pong, being able to manage the interaction that's going on with each other, to be able to be engaged, to be present. And so we have to make some shifts sometimes.
Yeah, the hard part here is realizing that this may take us being a bit humble and seeking connection over winning, seeking to engage over having my point driven home, being dominant. It really means making sure I manage my behavior to allow every opportunity for connection in this relationship, and allowing the other person to know that I'm not here to beat you. I'm not here to win. I'm here to understand you.
Could you say that one more time? I'm thinking about some holiday games. I don't know.
It's hard. It is so hard. And it really means sometimes for me, taking a big slice of not pumpkin pie, but humble pie, and allowing myself to get in the other person's shoes and to modify my own behavior and emotion so that I can truly engage and truly hear, even if I don't like what they're saying.
And I love how you have framed that. I think also about, some of us, some personalities, do we choose rules over the relationship? Do we choose wanting things to work exactly so over connection? Do we choose connection with somebody versus attention on ourselves? What are those pieces? Do I choose engagement over pulling back? But what is it that can contribute to the relationship?
So that's exactly it. And let me just say this as we kind of turn the corner here. This EQ thing, some people will say, oh, that's just soft stuff. That's just soft skills. There's nothing soft about this, Melissa. This is very, very difficult. And so what's so interesting, and it's very directly tied to having successful relationships in our life. It's hard. It takes work. It doesn't happen by osmosis. It doesn't happen just naturally. Having strong EQ takes practice. It takes building, as you like to say, it takes building a muscle emotionally. You got to be willing to work for that. You got to go after it, right?
And sometimes there's in situations when somebody can model that and do that, it can help others get on board.
Truth.
Now, it doesn't always, and that's not, 100% of the case, but when someone is demonstrating that, there are times where it will challenge the other person to work at it too, to try. And so, we don't want to forget that ability to influence each other in our relationships and how we can encourage each other. And these holidays coming up where, we can be mindful going into this time with some shifts and work at it, try it, do it because, we get that opportunity to be around those that we ultimately love and care about.
Well, I'll tell you what, as I head into my in-law and outlaw time of the year being with them, I'm gonna be more aware of this. I'm gonna work on my own EQ, Melissa. How about that?
I love it.
And you said demonstrate. So I want to demonstrate for you now because I know this is important to you in our relationship. I know that you've been waiting on this. You've been wanting this. Robin is sitting over there, our producer. She just can't hardly take it. She's so excited because we come to the time in the pod where we have the exceptionally bad but good dad jokes.
Let's do it.
Oh, man, it's good. Okay, hey guys, listen. I bought a couple of puppies the other day. Oh, Melissa's face right now, it's like, where is this going? I'm nervous. Okay, so I bought a couple of puppies. I named one Rolex, and I named one Rolex. I named the other one Timex. Yeah, one Rolex and Timex. Yeah, they're my watchdogs.
I was going to say, does Melanie know you got some extra puppies?
No, Mel, we did not. Dad joke.
That's good. That's a good one.
I love it. Hey guys, thank you so much for laughing with us, for listening. I hope that you have found a couple of nuggets that will help you as you enter into this fall season. We truly appreciate you listening. Thank you for being willing to make those little shifts that make a difference in your relationships. We'll see you next time.
Little shifts that make a big difference. RelationShifts. Little shifts that make a big difference.